Senator Canavan, thank you for speaking with me. You've been leading the charge against the carbon emissions reduction target of net zero by 2050. Realistically, what are the chances that the coalition will dump that target?
Well, I'm not about to set up a book on it, so I don't really know what probability it is.
Not very good then.
I would say though that the coalition, the Liberal and National parties here in Australia, are way out of step with centre-right parties around the world, especially in the English-speaking world now. The UK Conservatives dropped their support for net zero emissions a few months ago. The US Republicans, of course, have never been there, and New Zealand's dropped net zero too. So, you know, why would we stand against that right now? Why would we continue to impose costs on the Australian economy, continue to lose Australian industries as we have in the last few years, and ultimately continue to make Australians poorer for no environmental benefit whatsoever? Well,
you mentioned industry. Enos Willocks, who's the Chief Executive of the Australian Industry Group, he was asked whether Australia needs another debate over net zero, and he said, "Oh God, no." So why are you doing this?
Well, because I'm standing up for the 10,000 jobs that have been lost in our nickel industry. So it'd be nice for Enos to actually look after them. I mean, he's still got a job. All these people with these jobs in representative organisations, good luck to them. They take home a salaried wage and take no risk to want to continue to go to cocktail parties in Canberra and keep espousing this rubbish. What about the 10,000 people that have lost their jobs in Australia's nickel industry? We were promised, the Labor Party, before the 2022 election, promised us a hydrogen industry. They promised us that we'd have hydrogen jobs to replace, apparently, the coal industry that was going out the back door despite record demand for it. And all we've ended up with is a shed in Gladstone. What we're sick and tired of are these endless promises that are based on nothing but hot air and government commissioned reports. They are not based on fundamental economics and engineering, and it's about time, if we want to restore the wealth of this country, the prosperity of our nation, it's about time we get back to the real world, not the fake world that is written about in reports that come out of Canberra.
Well, in the real world, there's climate change, right?
Well, there's nothing we can do about that, of course. There's 1% of emissions. So whatever you think about the climate, Australia can't change that on its own. So why would we in a futile way self-flagellate ourselves when it's not going to make any difference to the environment?
So what specifically are you proposing then? If not net zero by 2050, do you have a percentage? Do you have a year? Is there a time frame at all that you're specifically proposing?
Look, I support it, and I think the reduction of 26 to 28% that the former coalition government had earmarked was perfectly sensible and achievable. We'll probably get to about that level by the look of it, so that's something. But then I don't think we should go beyond that unless the rest of the world is going to. I mean, why would we take further action to reduce our own emissions at great cost? And let's be clear now, it is at great cost.
In terms of cost, one of the vice presidents of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, Emeritus Professor Mark Howden, says that if we let climate change rip, costs of adapting to impacts will be way, way higher than dealing with greenhouse emissions.
But that quote doesn't at all rebut my point that if we take action at great cost to ourselves and only do it ourselves and are not joined by the vast majority of other countries, we won't reduce those adaptation costs. Whatever you think they may be, we won't do that.
So back to the coalition then, what do you see happening if the Nats go one way in terms of a position on net zero and the Libs go another way, because a lot of Libs are saying you should keep it? Does the coalition survive a policy split like that?
Look, I don't know, but what I'm much more interested in since the election is working out how we can save our country, not save the coalition or even save my political party. The interests of my country are much more important than those particular interests. I do believe my points have borne out. As I said from the get-go that a pursuit of 82% renewable energy target would not lower power prices, and that's now clear. It's very clear. As I say, even the government, even Chris Bowen, admits that his policies are not going to lower power prices now. So
but again, to my question...
I said 3 years ago, hang on, I'm just going to get this out. I said 3 years ago that pursuing this policy would lead to the reduction of Australian manufacturing and loss of our industries, and that has happened.
Back to my question then, Senator, if you do feel so passionately about this, is it worth splitting the coalition over if the Libs and the Nats can't come to an agreement on that?
as I said, I don't want to see that outcome, I'm not hoping that outcome, but the most important outcome for me is to make our country prosperous again.
So what about you personally then? Would you walk away from your party if they don't dump net zero?
No, I won't. No, I'll never do that. I'm nothing but loyal. I will stay loyal to the party. I'm only here because of the support of the Liberal National Party and Liberal National Party members all through the state, so I will definitely stay loyal to them.
Senator Canavan, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.